Children, today we are learning a new lesson, chemical formula, equations and calculations, part 1. The part 2 that you will learn in the next year, only the part 1 you are learning in this year. First one, balancing the equations. Then what we already learned, the equations for a chemical reaction should be balanced. That means the number of atoms before and after the reaction should be same. Here one example from your textbook is given. Balance the equation for the reaction of zinc and HCl. Zn plus HCl gives ZnCl2 plus H2. If like this equation is given, first you have to count the number of elements from the left side. So the first element, that is zinc. How many zinc is there? We can see there is no number and all, so we can write it is 1. And in the right side also, how many zinc is there? Only 1 zinc. So no need to balance the zinc. And the next it is the element hydrogen chloride, that is HCl. Then in HCl there is 1 hydrogen, but in the product or in the right hand side there is 2 hydrogen. Same way chlorine also there is 2. So we have to balance this chemical equation. And we know we don't want to balance zinc, so we don't want to put any number for zinc. So zinc we write it as such, and we know how many chlorine and how many hydrogens we need in the right side 2. So this 2 is the number that we have to add in the case of the left side of HCl. If you are adding 2 for HCl, then after that we know if 2 is adding common to HCl, it considered as the number for hydrogen and also for chlorine. So how many hydrogen and chlorine will be there? The same number, that is 2. So the equation will be Zn plus 2. HCl gives ZnCl2 plus H2. Then after you are getting the equation, you have to calculate the number also. It is given below. Zn, write the elements Zn, H and Cl, these 3 elements. Zn equal to 1, H is equal to 2, chlorine is equal to 2. And the right side also Zn, H, Cl, Zn is equal to 1, H is equal to 2 and chlorine is equal to 2. This is the way we can balance the chemical equations. Next, the relative atomic mass, and it is represented by capital A and small letter r, AR. That means it is the atomic average atomic mass. That's why we consider it is A and R. Relative atomic mass is the average atomic mass of the isotope of the element. That means it is same as to the mass number. The mass number and the relative atomic number are same here. But how they are calculated? It's already calculated and given in the periodic table. How some of the elements we know they are in the form of isotopes. If there is isotope, they are taking average. That means if there is 2 isotope and its mass, they are adding both the mass and divided by 2. How much it is getting? It is considered as the relative atomic mass. Next, relative formula mass. It is different from relative atomic mass. Relative formula mass means it is represented by capital M and the small letter r. Relative formula mass is sometimes called relative molecular mass. It is considered as the relative molecular mass also. Here the question is given to find the relative formula mass of magnesium carbonate. The formula is given here, MgCO3. So relative atomic masses means first we have to know about what is the relative atomic mass of carbon, 12, oxygen 16, magnesium 24. It is given in the periodic table. This is the mass number. So carbon mass is 12, oxygen mass is 16 and magnesium mass is 24. So if you want to get the relative formula mass, what we have to do? First of all, we have to calculate these masses. So Mr is equal to 24. That means in the formula only one magnesium, so we can take 24 only. 24 plus how many carbon is present? Only one carbon. So what is the mass of carbon? 12. But in case of oxygen, there is 3 oxygen. So one oxygen is 16. So we have to take 3 into 16. So total we will get 84. So this 84 is the relative formula mass or the relative molecular mass. Same way, and one more example is given, that is CaOH twice. Here calcium hydroxide, and we know hydroxide OH twice means this 2 is common for oxygen and hydrogen. Outside the bracket comes means it is common for both the elements inside the bracket. So relative atomic mass, that hydrogen 1, oxygen 16 and calcium 40. That we will give in the exam time, and we will give that is like before what is the mass. So how to calculate this one? Mr is equal to only 1 calcium, so 40 plus oxygen only 1 oxygen, sorry, here 2 oxygen. So what we have to do? 16 into 2. Then there is 1 hydrogen, and this hydrogen also 2 here, so we can write both together. 16 plus 1 means here 16 for oxygen and 1 for hydrogen. So we can write also like this, 16 into 2 plus 1 into 2. So the total we will get as 74. So this is the way we can calculate relative formula mass. Now we are learning about the mole. Mole is a unit of the amount of substance. The amount of substance in chemistry, we are using another unit that is called mole. And here the calculation is given 1 mole of oxygen gas. We have to calculate 1 mole of oxygen gas. How much? 1 mole of oxygen gas means how much? Before that we have to know the oxygen gas formula, that is O2. First of all, we have to know the mass, atomic mass, relative atomic mass, or the mass number of oxygen. It is 16, that we already know. Then after that we have to calculate the molecular, that means relative formula mass. Relative formula mass means there is O2, so 2 into 16. So it is 32. So now we get what? The relative formula mass of oxygen is 32. That means 1 mole of oxygen is equal to its relative formula mass. Okay, so 1 mole of oxygen means how much gram? 32 gram. Why? Because its relative formula mass is equal to 32. So 1 mole and relative formula mass is always same. Next we are considering the 1 mole of calcium chloride. How much it is? 1 mole of calcium chloride, how much? First we have to know the masses of chlorine, 35.5, and calcium it is 40. It will be given for the exams. And now formula mass we are calculating, that is 40. 1 calcium only, so 40 plus 2 into 35.5. Why 2? Because here Cl2. So 2 into 35.5. So how much we will get? 111. So 1 mole of calcium chloride is equal to how much gram? 111 gram. This is the relation of mole and relative formula mass. Relative formula mass exactly is equal to 1 mole. The next is empirical formula and molecular formula. The empirical formula shows the simplest whole number ratio of atoms present in a compound. And the molecular formula shows the actual number of atoms of each element present in a compound. That is the difference between empirical formula and molecular formula. Empirical formula means it is the shortest form. The molecular formula means that we already know molecular formula of water is H2O. Say, how to calculate empirical formula? Here the question is given, a sample of a compound contains 1.27 gram of copper and 0.06 gram of oxygen. Calculate the empirical formula. How to calculate the empirical formula? First we have to write the masses. For copper 1.27 and oxygen it is 0.16. Next we have to find the number of moles of atom. How to find the number of moles of atom? The given mass divided by the mass of copper, and it is also given here. For copper it is 63.5, so 1.25 divided by 63.5. Then for oxygen 0.16 divided by 16. So after calculating we will get 0.02, and for oxygen we will get 0.01. In the next step we have to find out the ratio. How to find out the ratio? First we have to take the smaller number. Here 0.01 is smaller number. So choose that number and divide. So 0.02 divided by 0.01 and 0.01 divided by 0.01. So we will get the ratios of moles, that is after the calculation we will get 2 for copper and oxygen for 1. So we can calculate the empirical formula. Just write what is the number. Copper we know the symbol is Cu. So what is the number get for copper? 2. So Cu2. For the oxygen we get 1. So Cu2O. If there is 1 means we don't want to write the number 1. Converting empirical formula into molecular formula. A compound has the empirical formula CH2 and its relative formula mass is equal to 56. Here the relative formula mass of that compound is given, it is 56. Now how to find out the molecular formula? First we have to calculate the formula mass or the relative formula mass of CH2. How to calculate here? First we take CH2 and carbon mass is equal to 12 and hydrogen mass is equal to 1. So there is 2 hydrogen. So 2 into 1 is equal to 14. Total is equal to 14. Then the relative formula mass of that compound is given. So take that mass and divide it by 14. So the number is equal to 4. After you get the number, you have to multiply this number into the formula. What is the formula? CH4. And in CH4 we know there is 1 carbon. So 1 into 4 is equal to 4. So C4. And hydrogen there is 2. 2 into 4 means 8. So H8. So what is the formula? C4H8. Thank you and have a nice day.